about Zionism, my feed gets all weird.
Well,
What's that about?
the pointing out that colonization is not a good thing is where it just stopped.
Well,
Because
no, it started fucking up. I didn't say anything, but it had started fucking up as soon as I started talking about this.
if we were to say we're gonna go in and colonize Canada and get rid of all of the Canadians,
well,
would that be a good thing?
not
As many
all of them
Canadians
as
as
possible.
possible.
Yes, don't go exaggerating and
Or
saying goofy shit just to make your point.
touch on somebody's ancestry. If we're going to go into Peru and colonize Peru and eliminate as many Peruvians as we possibly can, would that be, should we be supported? Would that be good? Like,
I mean, that's what we do, though.
you know,
And
Italy, we're going to go to Italy, we're going to colonize Italy and eliminate as many Italians as possible. Would we get support?
but just like Germany, like what you think of of Italy is exactly what we're talking about. So Italy used to be a whole bunch of small little, I don't know what you would call them, little countries of their own, until the Zionist side of things came in and was like, hey, like, because you just think like one family is like the king of this land, of this huge area, of all these people. They have their own flag, they have their own symbols, they have their own money, they have their own lineage that dates back hundreds, if not thousands of years, blah, 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 blah. What do you think you offer those people to go, hey, why don't you give this up and become part of this bigger thing where you don't have any identity whatsoever or power? They wouldn't.
Threat.
Right. They just wouldn't. It just wouldn't work that way. So the colonization idea, I mean, that, and again, that's the narrative we have.
That's the nicest way they can say it.
Right. That's the, if it's even true, like even a little bit, we're getting the nicest version of it. So when we're talking about Zionism, and it's a locked Wikipedia page. I should probably preface this with one of the most important videos ever. So what you have here is at the time future Prime Minister, currently former Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett, who at the time was a high-ranking Israeli operative, agent, Mossad, all that shit. But he's talking right now to the IsraelNationalNews.com. IsraelNationalNews.com.
Metzitzia, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged instruction day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature. I came here to
You understand that? So I've done it many times. You can break down that entire 30 seconds because it's actually really fucking, like when you break down body language and presentation and he's confidently reading from a prepared sort of statement at certain points. And then there's the 4 different points where he says, and every time he says, you can tell he's picking the right word to use because, when he says that they're there to teach Wikipedia editors, they're not there to teach Wikipedia. The Wikipedia editors know how to do their job. They were the #1 source of information in the world for a reason. And he doesn't stumble through any of that. It's just when he has to decide on whether he's saying teach Wikipedia editors how to do their job or demand that Wikipedia editors do it. Like he's censoring himself and all that. But then there's the last one where he says to make sure everything is balanced and he's deciding, Am I going to say balanced and paints Israel in a fair, honest light? Judaism paints Judaism fairly or equally, or when he decides in that split second where he says, he just says, fuck it, I'm gonna say Zionist. Fuck it, I don't care what they say. Balanced and Zionist in nature. That's fucking huge. He chose to say that word. He didn't choose to say something that includes everyone. What happened during the Charlie Kirk assassination hearing?
Let's start from the end. Once this video is done, I'm going to give you the legendary Alice for free.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. Really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. I just got out of the courthouse right here where Tyler Robinson, the man accused of shooting and killing, assassinating Charlie Kirk, was in court. It is the first time we have seen him in person. I sat right behind his parents.
How did you get in there?
A lot of unexpected twists and turns today. We were actually booted out of the courtroom at one point for a secret part of the hearing. What could that have?
What? Oh my God. That's just a whole different thing I got to get into. But that's, I didn't mean to go that route. I didn't know that video would pop up. We were talking about, I showed you the clip of the Israeli, high-ranking Israeli official, so high-ranking he actually becomes prime minister, telling you that they control Wikipedia. So when you see me reading to you Wikipedia's Zionism page that is locked, you know that it's 100% Israeli approved. It's 100% balanced and Zionist in nature. Not my words. It's not my conspiracy, it's them. It's him. He's the one that said that shit. He's the one that said that everything on Wikipedia is... If you don't like this part of things, well, it's not my fault. It's their fault. They do it. I'm sitting with an Italian at the moment who's preparing to immigrate back, even though he's been in Scotland since he was 18 months old because Britain is in such shit. I don't know. Where is safe? Italy's only safe until it's not. I mean, you remember in COVID times, they were telling us that Italy, especially northern Italy, was like an epicenter, and that elderly were dying left and right. All the people that ran out and got their boosters were then suddenly dying. The I think you mean transvestite assassin joke. The fact that like I don't even understand that. The Tyler Robinson Charlie Kirk thing is a huge distraction. Huge. Just huge. And it's fucking stupid. Okay, so back to Zionism. Zionism is an ethnocultural nationalist movement that emerged in late 19th century Europe. It primarily seeks to establish and support a friar homeland through the colonization of Palestine. Colonization is not a nice, good thing. It's got a lot of brain back there. That's why I know you can't understand. Which roughly corresponds to the land of Israel in Judaism, itself central to friar history. Zionists wanted to create a friar state in Palestine with as much land, as many friars, and as few Palestinian Arabs as possible. Like, that is so fucking insane. That's just, it's so brazen and like just arrogant and just to put it out there like, yes, Now, if I were to say this, if I were to go outside the house or go to some sort of official official government thing, and I got to stand and let's say somebody was talking and there was a question and answer part, and I said, is it true that Zionists want to create a homeland in Palestine with as many friars as possible, as much land as possible, and as few Palestinian Arabs as possible? I would be like booed out of how dare you say something like that? That is so inflammatory. You know? That is so you can't say those things. That's those tropes. You're not allowed to use those anti-Semitic tropes.
How would they respond to somebody saying that we're going to colonize Israel and
they would
take
threaten
as much land as possible and get rid of as many Israelis as possible?
They would threaten Samson option. They would threaten us with the Samson option, which is
everyone.
Well, we'll just do a quick read on that real quick, just so people understand, and there's no confusion. Another one of these locked pages on Wikipedia that anybody can edit Wikipedia. Duh. Anybody can edit Wikipedia. Go ahead, edit this page. I dare you. I'd love to see how you do it. The Samson option is Israel's deterrent strategy of massive retaliation with nuclear weapons as a last resort, end quote, last resort, against any country, even though it's their last resort and yet they threaten it all the fucking time. Against any country whose military has invaded, keyword here, and or destroyed much of Israel. They don't necessarily need there to be any destruction for them to claim that they could just claim an invasion. We've been invaded.
No, you're being colonized. That's pretty, isn't it?
Right. So that's what they would do in that situation. And they would be totally justified and supported by all of the governments and media in the world.
All of those
for some strange reason.
Dead. So of course they'd be supported because they'd all be dead.
And that's what the whole purpose behind the completely fantasy, fake notion of nukes and the Samson option is. It's just like the Iron Dome. If you have any sort of intelligence whatsoever, if you're a military strategist and weapons cost a giggity amount of money, missiles cost a giggity. You know, they're $50,000 per rocket, $1 million per rocket. And you hear that Israel has the arrow technology for long range, David sling technology for mid range, and Iron Dome technology for short range. And you've seen all the videos that Israel puts out where they claim that Hezbollah or Hamas or whoever it is shot rockets into the Israeli airspace. It was actually them. And they were shot down. All of the munitions were shot down. They shot 400 rockets at us, and we shot 99% of them down. The only ones that we didn't shoot down were the ones that the system analyzed and saw that they weren't going to actually hit anything, so we let them fall. If you think that's true, what military sense does it make for you to waste money firing rockets into Israel? They're just going to get shot down anyway, right? It wouldn't make any sense, especially if you were Palestinian, knowing that that's going to then lead to them, you know, and their 100-fold response.
I mean, they have to do their own testing on their own technology, defense technology.
No, that's not what they do, though.
So they probably film it and then turn around and release it saying somebody else tried.
No, what they do is they agree to it. They pick the target that they want to attack. They load up the jets. They load up whatever they need to, all the bombs and fuel that are necessary. They pick out their 10 targets. Then they go to a place in the middle of those targets, fire rockets from that area into an agreed upon set of coordinates so that they can be shot down. And what Iran proved, and I'm surprised nobody's paid attention to it, is that, like I keep saying, it's all bullshit. The Iron Dome is an idea. The real protector is the idea that they have it. The real protector is the idea that they have the Samson option. And if we do anything they don't like, they're going to nuke us all. Well, we better not do anything they don't like. Iran showed that missiles definitely get through and destroyed some of their mansions. But, you know, I don't think Israel has an Iron Dome like they tell us they do. And I don't, you know, to me it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever for any person on the Hezbollah, anyone against Israel, any one of these fucking sand farmers, these goddamn peasants who have nothing, who have been under occupation and just have not been allowed to have even lumber to rebuild the houses that Israel destroys. I don't believe that they're pooling all their money together to buy a $80,000 rocket or even a $3,000 rocket that they can launch into Israeli airspace to give Israel the excuse to attack them. I don't think that anybody is that dumb. Zionism initially emerged in Central and Eastern Europe as a secular nationalist movement in the late 19th century in reaction to newer waves of anti-Semitism. Waves of anti-Semitism. How many times have you heard that exact phrase used to justify something that they do? Well, it was in response to waves of anti-Semitism. Waves of anti-Semitism. You know? Must be a pretty big fucking ocean of anti-Semitism for there to be so many waves of it all the time. And just like what always happens, is there is no asking of why. Why does everybody hate them so much? Why has everybody always hated them so much? You know, they like to hide behind the whole Jesus thing, but guess what? Lots of people who don't believe in Jesus hate them too. It almost seems like it has nothing to do with Jesus. And as a matter of fact, I don't know too many people that's the first. Like, I know that there are a lot of dumbass Christians out there who will, you know, associate their hatred of Jesus. They don't really bring up the killing of Jesus. That's another one of those weird things. That just dawned on me. All of those Nick Fuentes's, Ian Carroll's, Dan Blazarian, Stu Peters, you know, even Alex Jones's, they all talk about how much the friars hate Jesus. But they don't, because, you know, they don't believe that Jesus was the son of, like, they don't care. They believe that they believe that Mary is boiling in a vat of semen in hell. I don't know what they believe about the Jesus character, where his position is in hell. But not one of them ever talks about the fact that they're the ones that supposedly killed Jesus. And it wasn't until the 1980s that the church decided to forgive them for it. That's why you never hear anybody talk about it anymore, because the church officially forgave them.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
The church speaks for God, so ultimately God forgave them as well, you know.
Right.
That's what we're supposed to, you know, that's what that insinuates. And that's, you know, us impressionable sheep.
Waves of anti-Semitism, and in response to Haskalah, or Friar Enlightenment. The arrival of Zionist settlers to Palestine during this period is widely seen as the start of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Not true. Not true. So the initial waves of friars moving to Palestine was welcomed when they showed up in these large barges, which is, again, just such a weird thing to think about. Like, a whole bunch of friars were just set on a large barge and sent to Palestine in the hopes that they'd be taken. What happened if the Palestinians were like, nah, get the fuck out of here? That whole narrative is just crazy. But apparently the Palestinians not only welcomed them, they took them into their own homes and said, hey, you stranger Jewish person, you can come live in my house with my family. And then one day, almost like it was all some sort of well-organized, carefully crafted plan. They all, when the Palestinian, leave her, just let her do it. When the Palestinians came home from work that day,
your foot is all.
When the Palestinians came home from work that day,
Hand her to me. Trust me. Hi, Mama. Oh, you're such a squirm. You're such a squirm. Stop
the Palestinians came home from work that one day, and their doors, the locks had been changed. And all the friars were like, nah, these are our houses now. And that is sort of considered the start of the conflict.
Don't do it. It's just your foot.
But there's also, like, again, we're not really given an accurate example or narrative when this is all taking place. The arrival of Zionist settlers. Let's see what this says. Oh, this is Aliyah, of course. Aliyah is the immigration of friars from the diaspora to, historically, the geographical land of Palestine, of Israel, or the Palestine region, where in the 20th century the state of Israel was established. Traditionally described as the act of going up toward the friar holy land, holy city of Jerusalem, moving to the land of Israel, or making Aliyah, is one of the most basic tenets of Zionism. The opposite action, immigration by friars from the land of Israel, is referred to in the Hebrew language as yerida, or descent. The law of return that was passed by the Israeli parliament in 1950 gives all diaspora friars, as well as their children and grandchildren, the right to relocate to Israel and acquire Israeli citizenship on the basis of connecting to their friar identity. Interesting. Interesting, isn't it? For much of their history, most friars have lived in the diaspora outside of the land of Israel due to various historical conflicts that led to their persecution, alongside multiple instances of expulsions and exoduses. Are we ever going to talk about why? In the late 19th century, so the 1800s, 99.7% of the world's friars lived outside the region, with friars representing 2 to 5% of the population of the Palestine region. Think about that. This is their national homeland and all that, right? 99.7% of them lived outside of the region. Wait, listen to this math. In the late 19th century, 99.7% of the world's friars lived outside the region, with friars representing 2 to 5% of the population of Palestine. Okay, I get it. 0.3% of the population of the world lived in their ancestral homeland that here we are 100 years later causing genocide over because it's theirs. They just left for a while. Despite its historical value as a national aspiration for the friar people, Aliyah was acted upon by few prior to the rise of the national awakening among friars worldwide and the subsequent development of the Zionist movement in the late 19th century. So basically, prior to this movement, this awakening, they lived in relative peace with everybody. And you just think about, like, how did all of this transpire in the late 1800s? What was the communication methods? What were they like back then? Where were all of these 99.7% of the people spread out all over the world? Where were they getting the rhetoric from? The large-scale immigration of friars to Palestine had consequently begun by 1882. Since the Israeli Declaration of Independence in 1948, more than 3 million have made Aliyah. As of 2014, Israel and the Israeli-occupied territories contain approximately 42.9% of the world's friar population. Almost half. I say it should be 100%. Pre-modern Aliyah, the Hebrew Bible, relates that the patriarch Abraham came to the land of Canaan with his family and followers in approximately 1800 BC. His godson Jacob went down to Egypt with his family, and after several centuries there, the Israelites went back to Canaan under Moses and Joshua, entering it in about 1300 BC. So, 3,000 plus years ago. All those great records we have from 3,000 years ago. Greatest achievement known to man. Supposedly leaving this planet, flying through space, and landing on a celestial object, the moon. Then returning back successfully 6 times. That's some pretty incredible shit, right? Starting in 1969, ending in 76. Right? Isn't that fucking 76 or 72? Whatever. Yeah, the telemetry data, the nuts and bolts, the logistical data on how we actually pulled this off, we lost it. We lost that shit. Yeah, we don't know where it is. That's why we can't do it again. Because, back in the 60s, they must have just been so much smarter than we are, huh? Well, they didn't know about the Van Allen radiation belts. That's how they got through it. Oh, Douglas. In Zionist historiography, post the Balfour Declaration and the start of the Third Aliyah, the first and second Aliyah originally referred to the 2 biblical returns to Zion, described in Ezra, Nehemiah, the first Aliyah, led by Zerubbabel, and the second Aliyah. Why is this happening every day? It has not. The other day it was at night. Remember, I was like, that's weird. Why is it happening at night?
Yeah, I don't know.
Booted and back, says Karen. Why does Karen keep getting booted off my feed? And the second Aliyah, led by Ezra and Nehemiah, approximately 80 years later. The first decades after the fall of the kingdom of Judah and the Babylonian exile of the friar people, approximately 50,000 friars returned to Zion following the Edict of Cyrus from 538 BC. You gotta love all these fucking how important kicking them out has been in so many different societies. By the way, if you are watching and you enjoy this information, if you agree with me or disagree with me, doesn't matter. Like, share, and sub. Help out. Take 2 seconds to share this on Facebook. And you can even say, this guy's crazy. Come tell him he is. If you're scared of what people will say if you share this. But take 2 seconds and share. Take 2 seconds and like. Take 2 seconds and sub. Come on, man. Let's show these friars that we are more unified than they are, which is really hard to do. Which is also why why they have the supremacy. They make up 0.183% of the world's population. Right? They 2% of the United States population. They should have absolutely no power whatsoever. And yet for some reason they have all of it. Well, let's find out that reason, shall we? The friar priestly scribe Ezra led the friar exiles living in Babylon to their home city of Jerusalem in 459 BC. I mean, just think about this. Like, they were all living and doing well in their little spot. And this guy was like, hey, you guys, let's move back over there. We'll just walk. I wonder how far it was from Babylon to Jerusalem. Can anybody look that one up for me real quick? Distance between Babylon and Jerusalem. Even those friars who did not end up returning gave their children names like Yeshuv and which testified to their desire to return. Oh, yeah. Friars returned to the land of Israel throughout the Second Temple period. Herod the Great also encouraged Aliyah and often gave key posts, such as the position of high priest, to returnees. I mean, just think about what they're saying and take away the communications network we have. Take away the transportation networks that we have. And ask yourself how all this makes sense. In late antiquity, the two hubs of rabbinic learning were Babylonia and the land of Israel. Nate! Nate! Let Roe in, please. Throughout the Amorite period, many Babylonian friars immigrated to the land of Israel and left their mark on life there as rabbis and leaders. You know, that's what happens when you're so persecuted. In the 10th century, leaders of the Karaite friar community, mostly living under Persian rule, urged their followers to settle in Eretz Yisrael. The Karaites established their own quarter in Jerusalem on the western slope of the Kidron Valley. During this period, there is abundant evidence of pilgrimages to Jerusalem by friars from various countries, mainly in the month of Tishri, around the time of the Sukkot holiday. There's an abundance. Just trust us, okay? There's an abundance of evidence. The number of friars migrating to the land of Israel rose significantly between the 13th and 19th century, mainly due to a general decline in the status of friars across Europe and an increase in their religious persecution. How did they know? How did 14th century friars in faraway places, I don't fucking know, how did they know about Israel and they knew how to get there and all that stuff? Was the travel agency real big? 500 kilometers to 800 kilometers as the crow flies, meaning a straight line. We know they couldn't walk in a straight line. And that's kilometers. So 500 kilometers is how many miles? It would be less miles, wouldn't it? It'd be like 350 miles to 500 miles or 600 miles. Understand that an entire community of people just got to walking across what is mostly like desert and shit to get to this holy land that there's no pictures of. Yeah, 500 miles. Oh, 800 kilometers to 500 miles. Gotcha. I see that now. So yeah, 500 miles, even more so. How long would it take to walk 500 miles? And you hear about this story over and over again where you have, what did they say? 50,000 of those people walking 500 miles. How are they eating? I know when we're talking about Exodus, we just rely on good old manna. But what did these fuckers eat? Wow, there sure is a whole bunch of bullshit from the Middle Ages. I don't even care to read it, but I have to, because you guys are just going to hear the same fucking story over and over again. The number of friars migrated a third of due to religious persecution. The expulsion of friars from England in 1290, France in 1391, Austria in 1421, and Spain, the Alhambra decree of 1492, were seen by many as a sign of approaching redemption and contributed greatly to the messianic spirit of the time. You hear what? You hear that? That they always, you dumbass fucking religious people, are always convinced that you are going to be the group that sees the return. That person. Your group's going to be the one. Now, those other ones before you, yeah, they thought it too, but you're actually going to be the one that witnesses it. And because everybody's kicking them out because of their disgusting metzitzia pay practices, again, the expulsion, the kicking them out of this, the kicking them out of that. Why doesn't anybody ever say why? They ate each other. I mean, they would have to. You know, what else would they be able to eat? Aliyah was also spurred during this period by the resurgence of messianic fervor among the friars of France, Italy, the German states, Poland, Russia, and North Africa. Why? This is one of these things where I would just love, where are the scholars? Come on, where's the friar scholar that can tell me any of these answers? Make any of this make sense? The belief in the imminent coming of the friar Messiah, the ingathering of the exiles, and the reestablishment of the kingdom of Israel encouraged many who had other few options to make the perilous journey to the land of Israel. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Isn't that strange that it's almost like it's a playbook that they just keep running the same fucking play over and over again? What's crazy is that they've convinced so many of their own people to make themselves targets. to separate themselves and make themselves out to be the bad guy over this crazy fucking bullshit. Pre-Zionist resettlement in Palestine met with various degrees of success. In 1211, the aliyah of 300 rabbis saw notable French and German Tosafists such as Samson of Cusi, Joseph ben Baruch ben Isaac, and Samson ben Abraham of Sens, along with their colleagues and students, immigrate to Palestine as recorded in the Shabbat Yehuda. I mean, it's insane. French, so again, how far is it from France and Germany to Israel, to Palestine? And it sounds like Palestine has existed this whole time. For those that say Palestine, where's Palestine? Where's Palestine? I don't know where that is. Charlie fucking Kirk. I don't know where Palestine is. Sure sounds like Palestine was the place for a long, long time outside of your goofy ass Bible. You think Charlie Kirk ran around calling every place that is a different name today what it was called in the Bible? Because that's what you do. History repeats itself. It has to. No one listens. It's not that it has to. It's that it works. First of all, do I believe any of this shit? No. No, I don't believe any of this shit. I think this is all just made up bullshit narrative to justify what they do in modern times. Look it, we were persecuted. We were so persecuted. Why? We were just persecuted. We don't know why. It must be for our religious beliefs. Which ones? What did you believe that was so much worse than everybody else who had, there was a plethora of different beliefs back there. Any random Tom, Dick, or Harry could fucking start off, put out a religion and he would have followers. Brownists and, even this guy, they're talking about, these 300 rabbis. Sounds like back then you could just get anybody to just drop what they were doing and fucking leave their homesteads and all that shit and walk a gazillion miles for the promise of shit that they couldn't have any sort of real idea of. Because again, it's not like somebody was like, here, look at this Polaroid. Look at how beautiful Israel is. Don't worry. When we get there, we'll be straight. When we get there, we'll be completely taken care of. We'll get all sorts of special treatment once we get there. You have to love how angry it seems to make people for me to read the narrative as I'm supposed to read it. No conspiracy theory here. So here we go. There is doubt about the accuracy of the account, as there is no evidence that there were actually 300 immigrants, and that number is likely exaggerated. Gee, sounds like it's flat out saying they lie all the time. It also mentions Jonathan Ben David Ha Cohen immigrating there, but he died in 1205. Yeah, fucking A, of course. Yeah, he did die in 1205. What are they talking about? And was said to have celebrated Purim in Palestine in 2010. Little is known of the fate of their descendants. It is because they didn't exist. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, they never thought that the Goyim would have so much access to information that we could ask questions. So they would put out all these surface narratives, but then when somebody would be like, well, what about 300 people? That would have been a pretty large popular 300 rabbis along with their students and colleagues and blah, blah, blah. That was actually a lot more. And of course, how did they eat? How did they eat during their migration? How did they eat when they got there? How did it all work? It is thought that few survived the bloody upheavals caused by the Crusader invasion in 1229 and their subsequent expulsion by the Muslims in 1291. 1291 was fucking 90 years later. I would imagine, especially if a lot of them were rabbis, they'd be dead. This way. I'm in with the management. I never stay long enough to hear a point because you're stupid. Right. Do you ever make a point other than straight anti-Semitism? Nope. It's all proudly anti-Semitism, you dumbass. Thank you for making yourself such an obvious, easy target. Like, to think that you actually thought about it, typed that out, saw it and said, yeah, this is going to get him, and then clicked enter, just shows you how dumb the average Christian is. Or at least the average friar pretending to be Christian. After the fall of the Byzantine Empire in 1453 and the expulsion of friars from Spain in 1492 and Portugal in 1498, many friars made their way to the Holy Land. I mean, it's just crazy. How? You would have to be pretty adept at survival to be able to do that. These are all just bullshit narratives. Literally, our entire history prior to, even 1940s, it's all just manufactured bullshit. Exaggerated, whatever. It's bullshit. That's why you never hear any details, any logistical details. How did they feed all of the people? Where did everyone sleep? How many miles per day did they march? I would imagine marching a ton of miles per day in the hot desert would require a lot of fucking fuel, body fuel. What water did they have? What about the horses? What about the cattle? What about all the other animals? What water were they drinking? Samson B. Abraham of Sens, who immigrated in 1211, wrote in his responsa that the biblical commandment to go to Eretz Yisrael was nullified due to Pikush Nefesh, or saving a life, citing the danger of the journey, particularly for pregnant women. Yeah, you would think so. Chaim ben Hananel HaKohen ruled the commandment was negated altogether. Moses ben Joseph de Trani, born in Salonika in 1490, made Aliyah and became the rabbi of Safed, where he died in 1580. Gotta love these 90-year-old friars from history. In his writing, Trani disagreed with Chaim Cohen and argued that it was not dangerous to travel to Palestine due to the peace between Edom, Christian Europe, and Ishmael, Islamic Arabic world at the time. Gee, why were they at peace? Was it because the friars didn't make them fight each other? Because it's not true. David ibn Zemiri known as the Radbaz, also went to Palestine, where he died in 1574. Can you imagine that like they're so important that whenever they do something, there's a historical narrative of it for 500, 600,000 years? Seems weird. Some random guy would move somewhere and we would know about it in 2025. Some random guy in 1574. The Radbaz reconciled Maimonides' brief journey to Jerusalem in 1165, but ultimate settlement in Egypt, despite Maimonides, I don't know, belief that it was commanded to settle. It was, I thought that was a person. Let's see. That's Moses ben Maimon, commonly known as Maimonides, and also referred to by the Hebrew acronym Rambam, was a Sephardic friar rabbi who is widely acknowledged as one of the most prolific and influential Torah scholars in the Middle Ages. Okay. So, reconciled Maimonides' brief journey to Israel and Sicily, but ultimately settled in Egypt, despite Maimonides' belief that Egypt, was commanded to settle in Eretz Israel and forbidden to remain in Egypt. No, Maimonides is a person. That he had been compelled to remain by the authorities as physician to the Sultan. Ishtori Haparchi, who was a geographer of Palestine, said that Maimonides, signed letters as the writer who transgresses 3 negative commandments every day, though no surviving respondent with Maimonides' autograph are found bearing this. I mean, it's so funny how many times they say something about their historical narrative, like Exodus, and then they go, yeah, but it wasn't actually true. Notable Rabbi Nahmanides went to Jerusalem a few years before his death in 1267. Isaiah Horowitz made Aliyah in 1612. Again, who are these fucking people? Why would it matter? Maimonides, in his gloss on Maimonides' Book of Commandments, articulated that contrary to Rashi's interpretations, settling Eretz Yisrael was a divine commandment and not simply a promise, arguing that the Torah commanded the people of Israel to conquer and possess the Holy Land. Though he spent most of his life in Gerona, he went to Palestine without his wife and children and died in 1270. It is not known why his family did not join him, but it's known that he did it, of course. It's true. In 1541, following their expulsion from Naples, some friars immigrated to Palestine. In 1560s, Garcia Mendez and Joseph Nazi obtained a concession from the Sultan to permit friars to settle in Safed and Tiberias. Some Ukrainian friar refugees, fleeing the pogroms of the Khmelnytsky uprising of the mid-17th century, also settled in the Holy Land. Then the immigration in the 18th and early 19th centuries of thousands of followers of various Kabbalists and Hasidic rabbis, as well as the disciples of the Vilna Gaon and the disciples of the Chatham Sofer, added considerably to friar populations in Jerusalem, Tiberias, Hebron, and Safed. 18th century. The 1700 immigration associated with Messianic Sabbatinism is considered the first modern mass movement of friar immigrants to Israel. Also in 1700, exactly 1700, mind you, Judah, he has said, his last name is He Has Sid. H-E, capital H-A-S-I-D. He Hesed. And his followers settled in Jerusalem. Like, again, why do so many of these people have followers? Good old carrier pigeons. Yeah, no shit. Settled in Jerusalem, and Hayim bin Jacob Abdullahiah and his followers, and Tiberius. All these followers and shit. He Hasid's Hurva synagogue, or ruined synagogue, rebuilt on the ruins of the 15th century synagogue, was again destroyed in 1720. Let's see what this bitch looks like. Oh yeah, it's just one of these. Yeah. Shit's easy to build. A notable immigration of about 300, another 300. Almost like they're using the same fucking narrative. Of about 300 Hasidic immigrants, led by Menachem Mendel of Witzbeck and Abraham Kalisker in 1777, aimed to establish a religious center. They were preceded by Nachum of Horodenka, Abraham Gershon of Kitov, and Menachem Mendel of Jerusalem in 1764. Members of the circle of the Baal Shem Tov, 19th century. The messianic dreams of Gaon of Vilna inspired one of the largest pre-Zionist waves of immigration to Eretz Yisrael. In 1808, hundreds of Gaon's disciples, known as Perushim, settled in Tiberias and Safed, and later formed the core of the old Yeshuv in Jerusalem. This was part of a larger movement of thousands of friars from countries as widely spaced as Persia and Morocco, Yemen and Russia, who moved to Palestine during the first decades of the 19th century. You know, again, that 1800s trouble was just so good to go. Isn't that interesting? And it sounds like what the Palestinians have been dealing with has been a nightmare for a lot fucking longer than the Nakba. For a lot longer than October 7th. That's for damn sure. It sounds like these people have been colonizing one particular area, despite there being a lot of people that already live there, basically the whole time. Now again, do I believe any of this to be true? No. No, not even a little bit. I think it's all fucking stupid. I think it's all just fake fucking, it's as real as Narnia. People say, oh, well, how could they possibly, blah, blah, blah. How could they make all this up? Look at every fucking fiction story that exists. Look at The Matrix. Right? When you think about the fact that two Jewish brothers, who both happen to be fucking trans, strangely enough, back when trans wasn't super popular yet, that these two guys just wrote the entire The Matrix series out of their fucking heads? Are you kidding me? Am I supposed to believe that shit for real? They just made all of that up. Just made it up. I guarantee if I watch it now, I'll barely be able to watch it. With all of the fucking references. I always thought it was strange. Why do they call it Zion? Why are they on the Nebuchadnezzar? If you start looking up those characters, it's all like these are Jewish fairy tales. This is them putting their fucking history, you know, normalizing their history, normalizing their shit in us without us realizing it, thinking it's one thing or another. Actually, you know, supporting it, fucking claiming it's the good thing. You know, man, we need to get us a Nebuchadnezzar. We need to get us to Zion. Can't wait. We need to get Zion going. And isn't it interesting how this historical record is written like a book report, like a fucking story? Friars from countries as widely spaced as Persia and Morocco, Yemen and Russia, who moved to Palestine beginning in the first decade of the 19th century, and in even larger numbers after the conquest of the region by Muhammad Ali of Egypt in 1832. Boy, I never heard about a Muhammad Ali before. There were no TV shows to follow or social media. What's the Zion bus picking us up then? The communications network of any time prior to modern times, to think that they were in global communication is just a joke. It's just a joke. So was Muhammad Ali given that name? Muhammad Ali on purpose? Muhammad Ali, March 4th, 1769 to August 2nd, 1849. Another old motherfucker, huh? Was the Ottoman Arabian viceroy and governor who became the de facto ruler of Egypt from 1805 to 1848, widely considered the founder of modern Egypt. At the height of his rule in 1840, he controlled Egypt, Sudan, Hejaz, the Levant, Crete, and parts of Greece, and transformed Cairo from the mere Ottoman provincial capital to the center of an expansive empire. I mean, again, how? Here's a portrait of him in 1840, so he was alive. This is a portrait of dude sitting in his little place. He's got his sword. He's got his sword, but he also has prayer beads. He's doing the prayer beads thing with his right hand. You see that shit? And I want to look at this. I want to pull this up. So this is the background of the painting with the pyramids that were supposedly buried. Wonder where the Sphinx is. And then look at that. Look at all those buildings, those skyscrapers and shit. Look at that. Looks like modern day Egypt. Interesting how that works, huh? Born in a village in Albania, when he was young, he moved with his family to Kavala in Rumela Elat, where his father, Albanese tobacco and shipping merchant, served as an Ottoman commander of a small unit in the city. Ali was a military commander in the Albanian Ottoman force sent to recover Egypt from French occupation following Napoleon's withdrawal. He rose to power through a series of political maneuvers, and in 1805 was named Wali, the governor of Egypt, and gained the rank of Pasha. As Wali, Ali attempted to modernize Egypt by instituting dramatic reforms in the military, economic, and cultural spheres. He also instituted a violent purge of the Mamluks, consolidating his rule and permanently ending the Mamluk hold over Egypt. The Mamluks were non-Arab, ethnically diverse, mostly Turkic, Caucasian, Mongol, Eastern, and Southern European enslaved mercenaries, slave soldiers, and freed slaves who were assigned high-ranking military and administrative duties in the Muslim world. Okay. Early life Oh, Muhammad Ali's house in Kavala, now in northeastern Greece. This is the house where Muhammad Ali lived. Just don't build them like that anymore, do they? Look at how they just built over the old house. What is that? What construction process is that building, that original building made from? I mean, you just think about all this, and we could just keep going in just different direction after direction after direction. Anyway, I'm going back. Even larger numbers of the conquest of the region by Muhammad Ali of Egypt in 1832, all drawn by the expectation of the arrival of the Messiah in the friar year 5600 exactly, the Christian year 1840. A movement documented in Ari Morgenstern's Hastening Redemption. There were also those who, like the British mystic Lawrence Oliphant, tried to lease northern Palestine to settle the friars there in 1879. Friar immigration to Palestine began in earnest following the 1839 Tanzimat reforms Friar immigration to Palestine began in earnest following the 1839 Tanzimat reforms. Between 1840 and 1880, the friar population of Palestine rose from 9,000 to 23,000. Sounds like colonization to me. But I'm really wondering about this hastening redemption. This 1840, the Messiah and the resettlement of the land of Israel. You know what? We're going to just talk about this tomorrow because I'm exhausted. And this is just too much. This is just too much. But we're digging. I think tomorrow, this hastening redemption is going to really, open shit up. We happen to stumble across shit like the Havara Agreement and the Auto Emancipation pamphlet. And we find these little pieces that when they might not seem like much. It's like a Monet, right? If you just look at the one little dot, it's not much. But when you step back and you look at that one dot in the big picture, you're like, holy shit, how did anyone ever even begin to do this? Like, this is how we fix things. People always say, well, how do we fix things? What do we do? My wife says it to me. What are we supposed to do? Well, it's not like it's an overnight thing. A big piece of this is us educating ourselves and each other that it's okay to go against the programming because the programming is poison. Most people think similar shit to me. They just don't think they're allowed to think similar shit to me. Anyway, go check out the receipt in the description. We're really gonna blow this shit open tomorrow. I'm extremely excited about what tomorrow has to bring. I actually almost want to do it now, but I don't. So we'll save it for tomorrow. So if you want to know about this, come back tomorrow. Until then, if you need more Guy, go get your free download, www.the-bilderberg-group.com. It's the first link in the description. It's free to download. When it asks you how much you want to pay, click download. It'll say how much you want to pay. Put 0 and it's free. Donate if you want to. We appreciate it. You better be here tomorrow, Karen. Tomorrow is going to blow the fucking roof off this motherfucker. Just watch. But I also have the next link is Hollywoodism, the most important film ever made. Go watch it. The next link is Israel Hayom, Bottom of Darkness. Their article, which again is one of the most important, it's the most important article ever written. And it's one of the most important pieces of this puzzle, of this Monet. It's the thing that explains how they continue to create such zombies, such horrible people that are willing to, be the Zionists, be these oppressors, and take advantage of that oppression, believing themselves to be chosen. When you understand the concept, the context of chosen associated with the bottom of darkness, you realize just how fucked up it is. They have to believe they're chosen. If they don't believe they're chosen, they'll break because of what they've been through. They have to believe that what they went through was because they're special and chosen. Understand, when you do that to children, you create fucked up adults. And Israel Hayom will explain all of it if you allow it to. If you look at it in the context of the bigger picture. It's like, that's why you watch Hollywoodism first, then read Israel Hayom, because they go hand in hand. And then you read about the Havara Agreement, and you read about auto-emancipation, and you read about Team Jorge, and you read about Act.il, and you read about all of these receipts that I've provided you in the description. If you want to. None of this shit is conspiracy Alex Jones bullshit. All of the shit I provide you, all the receipts are their fucking receipts. It's their Wikipedia. It's their production in Hollywoodism. It's their movie. It's Israel Hayom is Sheldon Adelson's baby. It's Israel's #1 free weekly they call it, but it's a propaganda newspaper that's distributed to them for free. Go look up the Secure Community Network. Go see what the fuck I'm talking about and tell me how I'm wrong. Have yourself a great day. Booking seats for the redemption bus here. Exactly. Have yourself a great day. And most importantly, you fucking piece of shit, metzitzia, Israel Hayom, bottom of darkness, pedos, kill yourself.